Welcome. In this video, we will discuss for loops in C++. For loops in C++ look just like this. They have some initial statement, a loop condition, and an update statement inside of the parentheses up here. And then they have some statements that you want to execute if this loop condition is true. For loops execute in the following manner. And we will use this diagram over here to display it. We have an initial statement which executes this initial statement right here, or this initial statement right here on the diagram. This is the only time the initial statement executes, and it is usually used to initialize a variable which will be controlling the loop in this loop condition. It then comes down to the loop condition and evaluates it. So this is going to be some expression in the loop condition that can evaluate to true or false. If this loop condition evaluates to true, it is going to execute some set of statements, the statements inside of the brackets right here. And then after it executes those statements, it will hit the update statement, which will update this the value that you are initializing in this initial statement. And it is also the value you will be checking in this loop condition. So it is a compact version of the counter-controlled while loop. And it's going to come back and test this loop condition as many times as this loop condition is true, and then once it hits a false of this loop condition, it will continue on after this ending closing brace for the for loop. And for loops look something just like this. You have a for loop, which it has some initial condition right here, the initial statement right here, and we're setting that to 0. We are initializing this counter to 0. We want to run it from 0 to 5 without running it the 5th time, or the 6th time it would be. And here is our loop condition, which is getting tested. We're checking that this count right here is less than 5. And then when this count is less than 5, so in the 0 case, 1 case, 2 case, 3 case, and 4 case, then it is going to execute these statements in here. So when this is 0, it would come in here, enter a number, you enter that number, add it to the sum, and then it will come over here and increase that count by 1 and then test this loop condition again, just like we have right here in this little loop. And it will go test it from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then once it gets the 5th number in here, which would be count is equal to 4, then it is going to come over here and this counter is going to go up to 5. It's going to check this loop condition, which is going to be 5 is less than 5, which is not true. So we'll come out here and output the sum, which technically this should be count plus 1 since we're starting at 0, and this will go to 4 and we'll enter in 5 numbers, but that's okay. So here we have a program which contains some for loops. It contains 2 for loops. And in the first for loop, it is going to output all of the odd numbers from 0 to 99. It's going to start at 0. It's going to go through this loop, check if the number it's currently on is a odd number. It knows if it's an odd number because if you take the mod of something by 2 and it's equivalent to 1, then it's odd, and if it's equivalent to 0, then it is even. So if it's not equal to 0, then it's equal to 1, so it's odd, and we're going to output that number. And just like we do up here, we're going to output some numbers down here, but instead of outputting the odd numbers, we're going to output the even numbers. So we just need to flip this to being if this number modulus 2 is equal to 0, then it's even because it's divisible by 2 in that case. So we're going to output the numbers. So let us come down here and make this terminal a little bit bigger, and we can compile the program with G++ and the name of the program. And then we can run the program with this a.out file, which we get, and we can run it by using /a.out. And you see here we get all these numbers output to the screen, and here we have odds from 0 to 99. If we go back to our program for a second, you see we get odds from 0 to 99 output to the screen, and then it goes through this for loop, and we see we get 1 output to the screen first because we start at 0. 0 mod 2 is 0, so we don't output anything. Increment that 0 to 1. Come back here. 1 is less than 100, so we'll come back into here. It will check 1 mod 2. Well, that is equal to 1, so that's not 0, so it's going to output that number. And then it's going to come back, increment the loop control variable again from 1 to 2. 2 is less than 100. Going to come in here, 2 mod 2. Well, that's equal to 0, so we don't output anything. Come back out here. So on and so forth up until we get to 99. 99 is less than 100. 99 mod 2 is 1. And that is not equal to 0, so it outputs the number. Increments that 99 to 100. 100 is not less than 100, so it breaks out. And if you see, we come down here, and our last odd number that gets output is 99. It then comes down here, outputs that the evens from 100 to 199 are, goes into this for loop, starts at 100, 100 mod 2, well, that's equal to 0, because there's nothing left to 0 or left when you divide 100 by 2, so it outputs the number. So you get that 100 there, increments to 101 after that. 101 is less than 200, comes in here, 101 mod 2 is 1. So we don't output anything, so it skips 101 here. And then it comes, increments that 101 to 102. Well, 102 is less than 200, so 102 mod 2 is equal to 0. Output that 102, which is why we get this here. Increment to 103, so on and so forth, all the way through all these numbers until we get to 199. So we get 198, and it is equivalent to 0 when you do this 198 mod 2. So it outputs the 198. Increments to 199 right here. 199 is less than 200. 199 mod 2 is equivalent to 1. So we don't output anything. Come back here, increment that 199 to 200. 200 is not less than 200. Break out of this for loop and exit the program. What we're left with is all of the odd numbers from 1 to 99 and all of the even numbers from 100 to 198. And that is all that I have for you for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.